It's not a small task to take a single-engine aircraft, which is not meant to be flown these distances. They're made to go on a 3-hour trip at most, and some of these legs were as large as 15 hours. I expected the trip to take 2.5 months. I ended up doing it in 2 months and 1 week. Definitely the hardest part of this entire trip was flying in most of these countries that general aviation is not a thing. That we don't have the weather services, the help from ATC that we would have here, I didn't have in all of these countries. So places like Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, and Malaysia, you're very much on your own with little services. I was very lucky that I had a few people behind me, and while I was in these harder countries and dodging weather, they would be tracking me and looking at the satellite imagery of kind of any weather system that I'm in, lightning strikes they're monitoring, and they were helping me in terms of my deviations off course to avoid the more severe weather. Coming into Samoa, they were getting the tailwinds of a hurricane that's out in the ocean, and I was landing at some of the craziest winds that I've ever landed in that you're battling there. You're battling communications with air traffic. When I'm over the ocean, the big aircraft have means of talking to air traffic. I was doing most of my position reports with a blanket over top of my head and my satellite phone, yelling as loud as possible and then trying to push that thing into my ear so I could hear what they're telling me back, which was just constantly challenging. And I had to do that every 40 minutes over any leg over the water. At the beginning of the trip, the challenge was icing. When I'm over Greenland and Iceland, I can't fly in any moisture that's below zero, or it builds ice on the aircraft and you're going down. So I'm constantly riding the edge of icing and battling the icing. The first major issue that I had was in Greece, and as I was about an hour out, the windshield started to get oil. Something's leaking and some oil was coming on the windshield. By the time I got to Greece, it was almost covered entirely, which made it challenging to see. But I was stuck in Greece then for about a week and a half, waiting on a new seal to arrive from the US, and luckily the mechanics, they were fantastic, installed it, and I was on my way with no issues. There was a few moments on this trip that if I had a button to push to abort the mission and I could teleport myself and my plane back home, I probably would have pushed that button. When you're in there and you're in the moment, as a pilot, you try not to let that kind of stuff affect you. You deal with what you got and you just keep going. Think about the moms that Home Sweet Hope is helping through their program. They're in a pretty crappy situation too, but they don't have a button to push abort, and make things better all of a sudden. They are gonna keep pushing forward and get through it, and if they can do it, why can't I? There's only been 3 Canadians that have flown solo around the world in a single-engine aircraft before me. So when I took this on, it's something of scale that can draw in attention, not only for fundraising and literal dollars, but also to just help bring awareness to Home Sweet Hope, to affordable housing, which is the issue that they're having right now. So it's kind of, there's multiple aspects that something of this scale can help bring to the table on a larger level than your average golf tournament. Home Sweet Hope has been somebody that we've supported, as in my family, has supported for a long time. I work in the real estate world and I see every day the struggles that all Canadians are having with affordable housing. We don't really have any. I wanted to choose a charity and an organization that I feel the problem that they're having and is also a local organization, so that the benefit that they're gonna get from this is something that we, as in me and everybody else in Halton, can see the change firsthand. A lot of these legs, 8 to 10 hours long. If you're not battling with weather, you're looking down at the scenery, I'm listening to music, you can listen to podcasts. That was kind of my time to kind of relax a bit. If I could do it again, I probably wouldn't go about the trip on a solo manner. It would have been more enjoyable to do it with people. There were some long legs, hard countries, and it's very lonely. When I got home on October 8th, it was a fantastic feeling. Now I'm back at my stomping grounds and I know, let's go. Sleeping in a hotel bed for 2.5 months, starts to get to you. It was fantastic, you know, seeing my girlfriend and my dog and all that. There are definitely moments on that trip that you're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and you haven't heard a soul on the radio for hundreds of miles and hours of your time. Then you're thinking, you know, if anything happens here and I go down, I am screwed. You did good. You did good. Yeah, everybody wants to know that. It's number one question. Do they want to get into the details of this? We can. Hey, you got this little bag. It's a black Ziploc bag. At the bottom, there's a powder. You pee into it, you zip it up, and within a minute, it turns into a brick, and you can sling it into the back, and you don't have to worry about it leaking.